What's going on, everybody? Welcome to GmiasWorldPodcast, and what we're going to be talking about right now is Week 2 Thursday Night Football, Bengals and the Ravens, and how I actually felt about this game. I'm going to be very, very clear about this, right? I've already told you last week I thought that Joe Flacco played very, very well, but I also thought that the Buffalo Bills are, I don't know how to put this, a trash can, like they're sewage. These dudes suck. So when I'm saying something like that, I'm trying to evaluate based on what was happening, how I feel about the team at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you play a garbage team, you're supposed to beat on a garbage team. That's how you kind of realize what good teams are. For instance, if the Patriots go and play a bum team, they're going to destroy that bum team 98% of the time. Sometimes back in the day, the Dolphins would get lucky and beat Tom Brady, but we all knew what it was. The Dolphins They just knew how to deal with Tom Brady, and they were able to get lucky. That being said, when you're a good team, you're supposed to beat on a bad team very, very badly. That's one way to kind of determine how good a team actually is. All right, now that that's being said, Joe Flacco played well last week against the Buffalo Bills, who was a trash team. The Bengals, right? Like I said, I don't know how to feel about the Bengals because as long as Marvin Lewis is the coach, I'm nervous. Like, if I'm a Bengals fan and I see that he's my coach, I'm very, very nervous about it. I don't think that he's a good coach. I've never thought he was a good coach. Even when he was going to the playoffs all the time and losing in the first round, I never at one point thought he was a good coach. I thought he had a very good teams that he should have done more with, but never ever thought that he was a good coach. Now, we're going to talk about Andy Dalton, okay? First half was craziness. Okay, AJ Green, I'm about to call him AJ Smith. AJ Green was going wild. All right, like the dude, listen, I don't know. Maybe he took a B12 shot. I don't know what was happening, but he was on target. A lot of times, though, after like he had his first 3 touchdowns, it looked like Andy Dalton was just trying to over-force the ball in. It's sort of like how Dak Prescott with Des Bryant was last year. You try to always force it to him. They had a lot of double teams. They tried to get smarter with it. It becomes a situation where it's like, what are you guys doing on defense? Even Weddle said, you can't start off like that. Trying to paraphrase what he said, you can't start off bad like that and expect to win the game. They came out really, really sluggish. The injury bug hit them early. It's a lot of bad things going on with the Ravens, but I just want to point this out, right? The Buffalo Bill game, let's say, for instance, let's say that Harbaugh went with the rookie, right? Let's say he went with Lamar Jackson. I don't think Lamar Jackson is ready to play, but the thing about it is, this is the Joe Flacco that you're going to get more of in the season, in my opinion, and it's one of the reasons why I just don't know if they should waste time. It's sort of like you see the way that the Jets took the chance and they started their rookie. I think a lot of coaches, they get really, really nervous to do that. With Sam Darnold, you got to think about it, though. Todd Bowles got nothing to lose. The dude's got, I don't want to say he's a bad coach because a lot of you Jet fans are getting on me because of one win, but I don't think that he's that guy for the Jets. I don't think he's going to be there for the long haul. That's just my opinion because I don't think he fits what the Jets are. He just, on the sideline, he just looks weird. Like, Bill Belichick fits the Patriots. He comes in there, his hoodie, he got the sleeves cut off. He just looks like a weirdo. He's fine with, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain things that we accept with the way that certain guys look. Even like John Harbaugh, who we're talking about right now with the Ravens. Who else kind of fits it? I like the coach of the Rams. I like, as much as people don't like the coach of the Eagles because they think he got a little bit cocky after winning the Super Bowl, I like him. It's some other coaches, too. I kind of lost a lot of respect for Mike Tomlin after what happened with Antonio Brown inside the locker room on Facebook right before they lost to the Patriots that year. So, but he kind of fits the Steelers' the gritty look of the Steelers also. I'm trying to go through some more. But like I said, it's just certain coaches that I don't think fit, like, with the way that it is. And I just wanted to let you guys understand that. Like, the Jet fans are going to go wild. Like, yeah, Sam Darnold. I was really impressed with what happened with that, but that's for another podcast. What we're talking about right now is the Ravens and the Bengals. I just wanted to point out, when you see Marvin Lewis on your sideline, you got to know that there's a 99.99999% chance you're going to lose that game. And it didn't happen yesterday because the Ravens just came out playing terrible. But for the most part, they're going to let you down. The Bengals are going to let you down. And that's simply because, in my opinion, their coach is not really that good. All right. Now that we got that under wraps, right? This is the next thing. When something is working, you know what I don't understand? When something is working in the NFL and the coaches see that it's working, why is it only a few coaches that keep doing that? Like, why is it only Bill Belichick? You know, coaches, like, it's only a few. Sean Payton, when they see that something's working, they just keep doing it. The Bengals, for some reason, you know, even when they started to double team AJ Green, he was still pretty much open. But Andy Dalton just started doing whatever he wanted. He started to like force it when it's unnecessary and stuff like that, and started doing other wild things. People have to understand something, right? When you get 3 touchdowns, right, and you see that that's working, you know that that's working. So you don't really need, you have to understand that the defense, because it's the NFL, people are going to adjust to it, which is what the Ravens did in the second half, which is why it kind of slowed down the pace, right? So look, now that you know that your passing game is working and you see the kind of defense that they're playing and they're going to switch it because now AJ Green is going crazy, you have to know how to adjust and when to go back to what's working. Okay, like just because something's working, that doesn't mean you continuously just keep pushing it. You got to know how to adjust to it when they adjust their defense. That's what they didn't do for the Bengals, and that's what I expected. That's what I completely expected, the way that they could have possibly lost that game if the Ravens didn't. If the Ravens would have made a little bit of some more accurate plays down the stretch, they could have possibly won that game. Simply because Marvin Lewis saw that something was working and he didn't want to stop doing it. He just, like, even though the defense adjusted, he's like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this, bro. We could go ahead and compare that to like the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl when they, you know, the Patriots obviously came back down from 28-3. They kept passing the ball. Passing the ball was, you know, it was working early. You're up 20-3. You know, your defense playing well. You got a pick 6. You got to change it up now. Because what happens is the NFL is a game where when they go to halftime and they understand what you're doing, they come back out, and usually if the coaching staff is decent, they change everything that was working for you and make you have to do something else. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't mean that those plays still don't work. Because what they didn't do is, once they saw that they were locking up and it became kind of slow pace, they didn't run some of the same formation sets. They didn't do some of the same things that were working earlier in the first half. Because you got to remember, when you prepare for a game, right, and you're like, oh, snap, I scored there. Oh, snap, I scored there. Oh, snap. And then you realize, like, oh, it's working. The game plan is working. Once they switch their defense, yeah, you have to put something else in there. But that doesn't mean that they now are prepared for what you were doing before that was working. And that's what the problem is. Because when everything came down to the wire, they changed up what was already working. Marvin Lewis and his coaching staff, listen, I don't know how that guy is still there. But whatever he knows about the owner's family or whatever, like he knows something, bro. Like he knows something about the owner. It's no way that you logically keep that man as a head coach in your football team if he doesn't know something about you. It's like no way possible, bro. Like I'm just being very, very realistic about this. It makes absolutely 100% no sense. All right. So now when you think about this as like, just think about it overall, right? They have this game under wraps. They could have put this game out like in the first quarter, in the first half. You thought the game was over. Most of us thought it was over. Joe Flacco in his little 2-minute drill, he tried to do some stuff. He's garbage, bro. But it's not even about him being garbage. You know that he's garbage. The Ravens know that that man is trash. Okay, so I think what they're doing is they're trying to play him into putting Lamar Jackson in the game, if that makes any sense. Because I know a lot of us were like, yo. What he threw on a 4th down, Joe Flacco threw the ball right to the devil. He threw it right under the earth. Do you guys remember that? Like when Willie Snead was wide open on the left doing the out route, he just threw the ball right to the devil. Like, you open, devil? All right, yeah, let me hit you with this. Like, bro, where are you throwing the ball? What are you doing right now? Pop Warner QBs can make that throw. This is what I'm saying, bro. The Bengals were in a position to really demolish this team, but Marvin Lewis's play calling after the first half didn't coincide with the adjustments that the Ravens made, which is a continuous thing. Because like I said, you can adjust and do whatever you want. You can start to experiment, do crazy plays, whatever. But when it comes down to it, you know what these guys are having trouble covering. And that's what my point is with when it comes down to it, you have to go back to what works. You can't make it a situation where they can now, they're covering everything that you're doing because you're probably trying to slow the game down. You're trying to do all that stuff, play conservative, more run calls, whatever. A lot of the plays that they made down the stretch were very Marvin Lewis-esque. They were it was letting you know that this man has not changed and he's not going to change. And this is why, even though they beat the Ravens, I fully expected that something weird was going to happen because we all know that the Buffalo Bills are garbage. So you don't really get a sense of it. You did what you were supposed to do. You beat a bad team. That's what you did. You know what I'm saying? So that's all we got from the Ravens last week. But again, I said from my own mouth in my previous podcast about it, he looked really good. But look, I'm going to go week by week, bro. Like, the consistency has to be there. I know Joe Flacco's trash. I understand that. If you look at the statistics, he's really, really a bad quarterback. But he has a huge arm, and he has the potential to play very well. If you look at his playoff record, the dude is unbelievable. But he just can't do it in a regular season. And again, I'm very hesitant to say if you put Lamar Jackson in, something different would have happened because he's still a rookie. He still doesn't understand the game quite as much. And I watched some of his preseason. He had some high points, but he also had a lot of low points. So I don't know how they're going to work it in, but I just feel that that might be an issue into why it worked out the way that it is and Joe Flacco's the starter and stuff like that is going on. But I will tell you this, Ravens fans, with the injury bug hitting your defense, Joe Flacco being your starting quarterback, it doesn't look like a very, very bright future. As far as the Bengals go, I don't expect anything out of them either because Andy Dalton sucks also. Andy Dalton is a suitable quarterback only because he has A.J. Green on that team. It's sort of like, what's that Carson Palmer when he had T.J. Who's Your Mama and Chad Johnson. I'm going to tell you this. I've been trying to tell people this for a long time. I understand that Carson, he won, Carson Palmer won a Heisman. He did all this stuff. He was a very, very terrible quarterback for a very, very long time. And he kind of ruined Arizona as well. But let's not get into that. That's for another podcast. All I'm going to tell you is this. Be thankful that you got what you got from Andy Dalton because that's going to be something that's going to happen throughout the year just because A.J. Green is going to make up for his lack of quarterback knowledge and being able to compute what's going on the field and just throwing the ball in the quadruple coverage. A.J. Green is going to take his 6'4" body and jump higher than Shaq and be able to cover up a lot of those blemishes. But at some point, they're going to have to make a decision about how they're going to go forward. Marvin Lewis has to be fired. They got to start, you know what I'm saying, bro? Because we already know what's coming. We already know what's happening. If you think the Bengals are going to do anything or they have a shot at the playoffs, something's wrong with you, even if you're a Bengals fan, because you should know. If you have any kind of questions, Google Marvin Lewis's face and let me know what you think. I want to thank you guys and girls for watching. You have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. GmiasWorldPodcast. One love.